Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. Many of us know this story as the story of Jacob and the angel. Jacob and the angel wrestle until dawn breaks, and the angel says, "Release me, dawn is coming." But Jacob responds, "I will not release you until you bless me." The angel asks, "What is your name?" And our ancestor responds, "Jacob." But instead of blessing Jacob, the angel says, "Your name is no longer Jacob, but Israel, for you have wrestled with beings divine and human, and you have prevailed." Jacob asked the man his name, but the angel responded, "You must not ask me my name." And he left. Jacob named the place Peniel, meaning the face of God, since he saw a divine being and survived. But before Jacob became Israel, he wasn't sure what life would bring him. Immediately before the wrestling match, Jacob was preparing to meet his brother Esau for the first time since Jacob stole his birthright. He imagined Esau was mad and was worried that Esau would kill him and his family. He sent off the rest of his camp ahead of him with gifts, and he hung behind. He was at a crossroads. He was scared. He was uncertain. And he was alone. I was at a crossroads not unlike our ancestor. One path connected who I thought I was and who I was expected to be. One path connected who I suppressed within myself and who I wanted to be. And I was stuck in the intersection. Each direction felt foreign and familiar. On one side, my day-to-day reality, and on the other side, my subconscious. Each day I would look in the mirror and see the person I was expected to be. I knew her well, and yet I was often surprised by her. Sometimes I would look twice, as if she had changed overnight. Sometimes when I said her name, Ariel, it felt like I was talking about someone else. At night, I would dream of the person I wanted to be. He had kind eyes and a soft smile. "What is your name?" I would ask him. His mouth would open, but no sound came out. I would grab for him, and he would vanish. I was left alone. The more I dreamt of the stranger with the kind eyes, the harder it got to love the one in the mirror who surprised me. I went searching for the stranger's name. I felt like if I could find his name, then maybe I could find my path. The farther I searched, the more I distanced myself from the familiar face. He was nothing like her. She was shame and disappointment, chaotic and unpredictable. He was calm and confidence, stable and secure. And I was neither of them. I was wandering, lost. I was scared. I was uncertain. And I was alone. Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. One day at the movies, I saw the stranger's kind eyes reflected in another person's face, and I broke down. It was unexpected and sudden. I wept in heaving gasps, my body seizing and convulsing. I hugged my knees and cried, crunched up like a squeezed lemon. What was this feeling? Grief? Longing? Despair? That night I saw him. He came to me and smiled, his kind eyes sparkling. "You!" I shouted. I heard my voice, her voice, the voice of the familiar face. I lunged at him. I grabbed him by the shoulders and I shook him. His frame was surprisingly small in my arms. We were the same height, and when I looked at his face, we met eye to eye. "Who are you?" I demanded, shaking him. "What is your name?" He smiled at me, and I heard my voice answer, "Ariel," and he was gone. I woke up with a jolt. I knew who he was. I knew what he was called. And now I also knew why her name always felt so weird in my mouth, because I never realized the whole time I thought I was saying her name, I was saying his name. But I also never realized the whole time they were fighting each other, I was fighting myself. I was neither of them, but I was also both of them. Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. How was it that Jacob was alone, and yet a man was there with him that he wrestled with? We never learn the man's name. While our rabbis interpret this man as an angel, some have offered another alternative. Jacob was wrestling with himself. He was alone, he was scared, he was feeling helpless. He needed a blessing. He needed some proof that everything was going to be okay. When we are alone, sometimes we are confronted with our true selves, the essence of who we are. Sometimes we don't like what we see. We may fight our inner selves, wrestle them for dominance. And sometimes the struggle doesn't end well. We may come out the other end feeling defeated and confused. But for Jacob, he insists on a happy ending. He demands a blessing. Interestingly, he doesn't get a blessing. He gets a new name. Perhaps even more interesting, though, is that Jacob accepts his new name as a blessing. He lets the man go, and in amazement and wonder, he declares that he has seen the face of God. I didn't exactly receive a new name. I received an old name in a new way. Once I was able to recognize that the being I struggled against was myself, like Jacob, I was able to overcome the struggle and prevail. And like Jacob, I saw God in the struggle. I woke up feeling refreshed. I was Ariel. I was the person with the kind eyes, and I was the person with the familiar face. And God was with me. I decided to choose a new middle name to mark my transformation like God marked Jacob's transformation. God calls Jacob Yisrael, the one who struggles with God. I called myself Yechezkel, the one who is strengthened by God. God showed me who I was, and I was strengthened by it. Like Israel, my name was my blessing. Mirrors can reflect foreign faces, people we thought we knew but don't recognize. We are all in a process of becoming ourselves, struggling between who we thought we were and who we want to be. If we can prevail, if we can survive the struggle and accept the blessing of a new sense of self, then maybe we too can be like Israel. Jacob looked at the person he was struggling with and he saw the face of God. Jacob looked at himself and saw the face of God, and he was transformed. May each of us see divinity in our struggle of self. May each of us see divinity in our own reflections, and may we all be transformed in the process. This is our blessing.